Hello everyone, welcome to the Spooky Noodles Podcast. Today I'll be covering the story of SCP-817, also known as Random Metamorphosis. Thank you to author GwenWinterheart for writing this tale. If you are listening to this episode, it means that I was unable to make the deadline this week. I could be sick, I could have been lazy, or I could have encountered some roadblocks. I'll make a Twitter post to let you all know what happened and when to expect the correct episode. I had never heard of this SCP before hitting the random page on the wiki, but good lord is this thing creepy. But anyways, what is a random metamorphosis? Item number, SCP-817. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. 817 is held in a solitary confinement cell in site. Numerous mechanisms for incapacitating 817 are built into its cell, including sedative-loaded darts, pumps to fill the chamber with sleeping gas, pumps to remove oxygen from the chamber, a mechanism to flood the chamber with water or acidic or alkaline solutions, an electric current that can be run through the floor and walls, a mechanism to fill the entire room with quick hardening foam, and a mechanism to introduce approximately 300 black flies to the room. 817 has a known phobia of flying insects. The remainder of SCP-817's containment procedure varies based on its current abilities. The following procedures must be re-evaluated and revised every time 817 undergoes a metamorphic shift. 817's containment chamber is currently a simple padded confinement cell, apart from the measurements mentioned above, air-conditioned to 18 degrees Celsius. 817 is fed kilograms of cooked meat daily, as in its current form it consumes calories very rapidly. A detachment of at least 5 armed security personnel must be present whenever SCP-817 is released from its cell. Restraints must be placed on its wing structures and a specially designed muzzle on its head and neck. Description: SCP-817 is a humanoid of indeterminate gender and variable physical features, although genetic testing suggests it was once a young Asian male. SCP-817 periodically undergoes radical metamorphic changes to its physiology. The delay between metamorphic events varies, but it is usually about 2 to 3 months. These shifts and the physiological abnormalities produced cause SCP-817 enormous pain. However, it seems to suffer no actual damage to its body systems. Additionally, 817 seems to be incapable of deliberately injuring itself. 817 is mentally unstable, displaying severe psychotic symptoms. During psychotic episodes, which make up roughly 30% of its waking hours and are always triggered by its metamorphic shifts, 817 is extremely hostile and will attempt to breach containment and attack personnel. In its current form, 817 is 1.5 meters tall, lacks primary or secondary sex organs, and in place of arms has limbs resembling the wings of a bat that fold around its torso and span 3 meters when fully extended. Bones and muscle are composed of unknown polymers related to any naturally occurring skeletal or muscular material and percent lighter than their baseline human counterparts. Because of this reduction in its masses to force exerted ratio, 817 is fully capable of extended, unassisted flight using its wings, although doing so requires an enormous energy expenditure. Its extremely high metabolic rate keeps 817 body temperature at a constant degrees Celsius, and it appears to be suffering the appropriate degree of pain for a human heated to such a temperature, despite a lack of actual harm to its physiology. Additionally, while 817's current neck and jaw structures appear humanoid, it has demonstrated the ability to suddenly jerk its neck forward and unfold its jaw, presumably as a feeding mechanism in lieu of arms. Addendum: Notable past metamorphic forms of SCP-817. Tall and thin with a reflective index of nearly 0. Required no sustenance beyond solar radiation. Efficiency of absorption estimated at %, vastly greater than any known biological or artificial method. Had no orifices whatever, sensory, excretory, digestive, or reproductive. Attempts to create solar panels based on its skin proved fruitless. Female in appearance, exuded from its pores. See attached image. Tranquilizers, sleeping gas, and oxygen removal proved ineffective. Successfully incapacitated by electric shock. Drainage added to containment chamber to counter the corrosive effects of kept sedated and on an IV feed for the duration of this form. Natural feeding methods seem to involve injecting through has fully dissolved, followed by direct absorption of nutrients through the skin, suffered the same level of pain that constant exposure to would cause in a normal human. Translucent, able to phase effortlessly through objects. Tranquilizers failed. Sleeping gas failed. Successfully incapacitated by oxygen removal. Spent most of its time in this form attempting to scream, and 2 days in began attempting to claw its own eyes out. Emitted a very small but measurable amount of gamma radiation. All attempts at study failed. 2.5 meters tall, with thick, bulky musculature. Breach containment, killing and consuming personnel before Dr. incapacitated it, accidentally by releasing a swarm of flies intended to feed. Musculature proved to be a complex and powerful hydraulic system powered by 10 large hearts in its core pumping an unusual ichor. These additional hearts powered a second circulatory system which served to provide the other hearts with oxygen. Any pressure applied to its skin caused significant pain, including contact with the ground. Addendum. An analysis by Dr. indicates even at the most conservative estimate, SCP-817 has expended less than 10% of the energy it has taken in since containment. Its method of energy storage is presently unknown. Dr. hypothesizes and has recommended that SCP-817's rations be cut to significantly below the current estimated starvation level. Recommendation still pending review. Quite frankly, this SCP is unsettlingly awesome. It feels like something that you'd imagine on a bad trip. It honestly kind of feels like a bad trip personified. I'd be curious to see what other interesting metamorphoses could occur. If you enjoyed that story, please consider sticking around for more. Next Sunday, we will be returning to our regularly scheduled programming. Our sources are linked in the show notes. If you've got any suggestions or tips for future episodes, please contact us at our email spookynoodlespod@gmail.com or at our Twitter @spookynoodles. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. Make sure to keep your taste for horror alive by watching the next episode of Spooky Noodles on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or YouTube. Thank you for listening.